Hey.
It's Dennis from the Australian Rock Show. How are you?
Cool.
Great to get you on the show today, and the reason for our chat is, of course, the new Hellacopters album, Eyes of Oblivion, album number 8 and the first studio album since 2008. I think it's far and away one of the strongest albums which the Hellacopters have released. 14 years is a long time between albums, yet Eyes of Oblivion sees the Hellacopters right back at the top of their game. What's the feeling within the band at the moment?
I think we feel pretty good, but as any time when you make an album and you send it off to the printers and the pressing plant, I kind of move on in my head already, so I'm already on the next album. But it's gonna be good to see it come out, and we've heard it too much already.
Sure.
Now it's gonna be good to have other people hearing it.
Well, many years back, Andy Chernoff and the Dictators asked the question, who will save rock and roll? Well, if this new album is any indication, the answer to that question, as in previous years, is the Hellacopters. Yet, although the band's been back together for some time, it wasn't a given that you would record a new album, was it? I mean, the desire to record new songs had to be felt by all of you, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a given at all. I mean, getting back together, I mean, if you would ask me 10 years ago, I would still say no. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's, why break a band up if you're, then it would be better to say we're going to have a little pause here, But it just happened. Things happen, stars aligned, I guess, water under the bridge, and so it felt really good to do that first reunion show in 2016, and so we got more offers to play, and that felt good as well. And then after a while, I think we just talked about, should we continue doing this? We have to remember that the songs are getting older by the day, and to travel the world as a nostalgia act wasn't really what we were planning, I guess. So then we just loosely started talking about, maybe we should try to record an album, and we did, and finally it's coming out. Yeah.
I read that some of the 10 songs included on the record were in fact written more than a decade ago. Is that correct?
I would say half of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when we approached the subject, I just looked at what I had. I mean, I kind of write a lot of songs, and so I kept a stash of demos, and I showed the guys some of them, and then we started with that. So yeah, some of them are pretty old.
Well, the first single released late last year, Reaper Hurricane, was superb, as was the title track for the second single. But the most recent single, the gritty So Sorry I Could Die, could in fact be my favourite track on the album. I just love the diversity. The piano accompaniment works well, and your vocals, I think, are really emotional and some of your best. What's the story behind that one, So Sorry I Could Die?
That's one of the older songs.
Okay.
I don't know now it's so old, so I don't know what led me to write it. Sometimes you just have something in your head, and that's, usually from something you've heard, or, I mean, I am a sucker for 60s rhythm and blues, and that's basically the Swedish take on it, I suppose. No, it's just about, I mean, lyrically, I think it's something most people can relate to when you have someone close to you that is going through a lot of trouble. It's sometimes pretty draining, and you can sit there and feel like, oh fuck, I also have shit to deal with,
Sure.
So that's basically what that one's about, and sometimes you just feel, I am sorry, but I can't be more than that.
The video for So Sorry I Could Die, which I just watched, is stunning, and I think shooting it in black and white really captures the feeling of the song. It's very effective, and again, I think captures the essence of the song, maybe.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's basically Amir, the director's take on it, which is nice. And that's the good thing about music. Even though I had something in my head when I wrote the lyrics, it doesn't mean that it has to be the same for you or for anyone, you know. And I like that, and I think he did a good job. I mean, I can barely watch it because I'm in it. I always hated that, but I think it turned out okay.
I do, of course, wish to make mention of the striking cover art. I am from a generation when album art was indeed just that, and the artwork for Eyes of Oblivion is stunning and grabs your attention. Painted by Charlie Granberg, but I was your concept design, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, usually when we make an album, well, at least 14 years ago, we usually have an idea pretty quickly. I mean, even before the album's done, but we didn't have any good ideas this time. I mean, you usually start with an album title, but we didn't have one. Well, we had a lot, and they were all crap. So, I mean, there were some terrible ones floating around. And so eventually, deadline was approaching, and I said, how about we look at the song titles and maybe we could... And then... yeah, we discussed the Eyes of Oblivion, and I thought, since the song is basically about sunglasses, you know, so then, I started thinking about that, and I approached Charlie, who I know since before, and try to make him understand what I had in my head, basically.
Charlie's also done stuff by the Wonderfuls, Sewer Grooves and Electric Boys, among other Swedish outfits. So I encourage listeners to go check out his other work if you dig album art. You yourself are no stranger to album or record sleeve design and have designed many covers over the years. I think from memory, the 7-inch single by the Head Cleaners in 1990, or the 1989 cassette demo by Nihilist. Drowned, also very cool. I want to ask, were you sketching and had an interest in art as a boy? How and when did that begin?
That probably began really early.
Right.
I remember, drawing was always something I liked to do from as long as I can remember. And they were usually, dinosaurs, but also skulls. And then I got into Kiss, and there was, but it's always been a nice hobby to have. I mean, if I had more time, I would probably take classes and get on with it. But I don't have time because I have to make music.
A Plough and a Doctor, that's another instant favourite of the new record, which kicks off with wailing guitar, more stomping piano on a tune that's awash with melody. We need a plough and a doctor right now. How did that song come to fruition?
The lyrics are basically about the industrialization. Right. Everything's moving so fast. So maybe we should, just a little reflection on how fucked the world is at the moment. And it just seems like maybe we should get back to basics. Maybe we should be Amish. I have no idea. And then so what do you need? Probably need a doctor and probably need a plow so you can make food. And it's just a silly title that, I try to amuse myself with these things. And since I'm not a comedian, it's mostly for me, and but people can read anything they want into it.
Love it. Can I ask if writing original riffs and melodies is more of a challenge for you after so many years, or is that part of the process easier?
I don't know. I'm knock on wood, but that doesn't seem to be a problem yet. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not up to me if it's good or bad, but it's still coming. and I mean, what I struggle with is the lyrics, since English is not my native language, and I also think they should be okay. That takes the music to another level. I thought. I mean, I'm a huge Kiss fan, and I know their lyrics. They should be just like that, and it's perfect. But I can't stand behind that myself. I can't write lyrics about screwing. I just can't. I don't know how to do that. And so I do put a lot of work into that because I also feel that it's very important which rhyming word goes where. And it's almost like to me, it's like another instrument.
Well, going on from that question, obviously your wide range of influences flows, through to your song creation, but you're not 22 anymore. So I guess channeling, Wayne Kramer or Dennis Tech doesn't always have to happen, does it?
No, I mean, but I always thought, I mean, I've been very frustrated at times because that's what I wanted to do. To channel Wayne Kramer as, the best I could, but it turns out something else, and that's you. And I maybe getting older, I realized that's not necessarily a bad thing, But it is funny. You have these, goals for yourself. I want it to sound like this, but it never does. It sounds like something else, and that's hopefully your thing,
I bought a single of yours in 2004 called I Don't Want to Go Outside. Fantastic song, but it's a great example of what I was just alluding to on a song that displays, I guess, versatility. Would you agree?
Oh, fuck, it's not up to me to say that. I have no idea. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that. I really did. I like that one.
It is. It's a great song.
Again, that was me trying to sound like the Ramones, but it doesn't really either, which is...
Actually, on the new record, you just mentioned the Ramones. There is another cool track called Can It Wait, which clocks in at a Ramones like 2 minutes. But I think fans also need to listen out for the album closer called Try Me Tonight. But when the sun is sinking low, you might be in for a surprise. I might even surprise myself. Why don't you try me tonight? Help me out with Try Me Tonight if you can.
Well, sometimes people have... preconceived notions about you or anyone, and it's the old chestnut, you can't judge a book by the cover, and so this is the narrative in the song is me or anyone who might think that you think I'm a sissy, but you just wait. There's more in here than you think it is. So try me. It could be like, you just try me. I might kick your ass, or it could, I'll win an argument with you, or anything.
Love it. Let's dig into your history, if I can, a little. And I want to drift back to a special time for many of us here in Australia. October 1998, when the band did some dates here for the first time. From memory, you had Chuck Pounder on board, played with bands such as Mustang, Powder Monkeys, Asteroid B612, New Christ, Exploding White Mice, Celibate Rifles, to name but a few. From memory, there were 2 shows in Tasmania. You also played the Barwon Club in Geelong with the Great Board. I just know you've got to have fond memories of your first tour down under.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it this way, it's pretty amazing, since we got really into... from friends of ours that, we didn't grow up listening to Australian rock music, but I think it was, when we started the Hellacopters, a lot of people told us, this sounds like this or that from Australia. And we were like, okay, let's check it out. And we just fell in love with all these bands. It just seemed to me, it was a big deal, because when everywhere else in the world in the 80s, for example, everything kind of sucked.
Sure.
But in Australia, you had great bands. I don't know how to put it. It's like, I don't think there were any band like the New Christ in the 80s anywhere else in the world. And then and it was kind of an epiphany for us and then going there, playing with all these amazing bands. I don't know. To us, it was a really big deal.
So that's where your love affair with bands like Birdman and I guess the Asteroids and Powder Monkeys began, just with friends swapping tapes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you that's kind of how it works.
Yeah,
with music fans, I suppose.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we should check this out, and I love that. And and I still think it's not known enough how many good bands that came from there. I mean, my favorite band right now is that are around now would be the Casanovas, which I think are really good.
Can I put you on the spot here and ask, maybe what are your top 2 or 3 Radio Birdman songs and why? Or is that too difficult?
I can try. I always had a thing for Man with Golden Helmet.
Love it.
Yeah, I did like that. And also Dark Surprise is one of my favorite songs. There are many. I don't know. I did play... I have covered we had a short-lived cover band after we broke up with Hellacopters. That's the band that turned into my other band, Imperial State Electric. And we did, what song did we do? What Gives? That was always fun to play. But there are many.
Well, one thing I've always loved about the Hellacopters is that at your core, you are all music fans. And I guess as evidenced by the inclusion of some amazing B-sides and also stuff on tribute albums. Obviously, the Head Off cover album, which in turn, that introduced many cool bands to younger kids. Sonic's Rendezvous Band, City Slang, or Birdman's 455 SD are great examples of that. I just think it's a wonderful thing.
Well, I mean, I guess we're kind of nerds in that respect, and also playing these songs was never meant to make these songs any better. It's actually more like it's fun to play them, but also, like you said, maybe some other people can discover this, because I still think any of these covers we did, we haven't touched the original songs at all, but it's hey, check this out kind of thing.
Yeah. And I've got Asteroids bouncing around in my head. Lyrics, of course, from You Are Nothing. I heard that was a reference to Sydney's asteroid B612. True or false?
I think it came from there, yes.
Okay. Love it. Also, loved your covers of Asteroid B612's I Just Don't Care About Girls and the Yes Men's Acid Rain, by the way. Great stuff.
Yeah, what an amazing band. Yeah, that's so many. I mean, a lot of times when I do interviews, they talk about Sweden. It's like, nah, you should talk about Australia.
Well,
better band.
I could talk about this stuff, But back to the new album for a little bit before we finish up. Tinfoil Soldier, I want to mention. Very catchy with kind of a mid-70s feel to it. Hand claps, a big sing-along chorus as well. I just love that one, Tinfoil Soldier.
Yeah, that's when I was trying to channel my inner Slade and the Sweet.
I think you did.
I think that was actually the intention there. And I think even on my demo, I put hand claps to emphasize the idea.
A little T-Rex-ish as well.
Oh, yeah. I love T-Rex, and I think the working title of the demo was, for a long time, it was Glam, not Sleaze, because I do think there's a huge distinction to have there.
Mate, a couple of random ones before we finish up. About 5 years back, you had Sammy Yaffa on bass for some live shows. What was it like to play with Sammy?
Oh, it was great. He's an amazing bass player and a really great guy to be around. I think he probably would have stayed if he didn't have so many other commitments. I mean, he wrote books, he had TV shows, he played in other bands, No, that was great. It was a joy playing with him. I'm glad we did that. But it's also a joy playing with Dolph. So, yeah, all good.
I know, I mean, you mentioned Kiss before. I know that they were one of your gateway bands into rock and roll. Was that surreal? I guess you've been asked this before. Was that surreal to go from a fan to opening shows for them on some of those 1997 reunion dates? How was that experience?
Totally surreal.
Yeah.
I think we were just nervously giggling and laughing all the time because we were like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we playing for 33,000 people for? Shouldn't there be other more serious bands doing that? I think that's kind of the feeling we had. But at the same time, it's like, if anyone knows, proper Kiss, it's us,
Sure.
So we probably both humble and the opposite at the same time. It was great. We thought we were gonna get booed off the stage. We were just happy to see the show, the Kiss show, for free, And but we didn't get booed off, and people seemed to actually enjoy it. So that was awesome.
And I recall the band did a cover of All American Man some time back as well, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a horrible version of it.
Really?
Yeah, I think
maybe it's
so.
because you're just so familiar with the Kiss version.
Yeah, and then, well, I guess we also thought it was funny to sing those lyrics being from Sweden, Just thought it was a bit ridiculous, but I do like the song.
The documentary, I'm in the Band, is that likely to get a worldwide release in the future?
Well, see, the problem here, I think, because we weren't involved, so it's not our movie or anything. It's the directors who did it, and of course, we had the final say in the cut. But I think the problem here was that they made it. It was financed by Swedish National TV. So I don't know what the deal is, but I think that therein lies the problem somewhere, that they own the rights, and for them, there's no reason for them to make it worldwide. I mean, the easy thing would be to just put subtitles and, put it out there on YouTube or something. And to me, that seems like a really easy fix, but it's probably some legal bullshit.
Okay, fingers crossed. You mentioned it. I know you are a very prolific songwriter. Was there any material left over from Eyes of Oblivion, and is there a possibility of another studio album in the future, or too soon to say?
No, not too soon to say. My head's already on the next album. Now I got excited, and so that will be, as soon as we can, we'll probably record. I wouldn't be surprised if we recorded next year.
Wow.
But yeah.
Love it. So future plans, I note that the band have some shows coming up over the summer months, one in Spain alongside Metallica and Weezer, one in Norway next month as well. I assume that the rest of 2022 will see you out touring the new record?
Yeah, I mean, the world is very strange at the moment.
Yeah.
Like we've had the pandemic's not over, and then Russia happened. So I mean, it's you don't take anything for granted anymore, right?
Sure.
But you can hope, and that is for like a European tour in the fall. But then obviously, when was the last time we were in Australia? We would love to go there.
You're reading my mind. I was just going to ask, any plans to tour again? That would be wonderful.
The only problem is that it takes so long to get there.
Just sleep.
I mean, the first time we went there, I think it took us 26 hours to get
lost a day.
Yeah, but no, we're dying to go back.
Cool.
It would be awesome.
Mate, any big plans for your upcoming 50th birthday?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm trying to avoid it as much as I can. I'm still 22 in my head.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, love it.
No plans. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Cool. The new album is out April the 1st on Nuclear Blast. If fans want to get a hold of the new record and to also learn about the upcoming tour dates, they should head to Hellacopters.com or nuclearblast.de for further details. Nicke, we should finish up. So great to chat with you today. Many of us here in Australia are lifelong fans and have fantastic memories of the aforementioned 1998 tour. The Hellacopters were and are still the torchbearers for real rock and roll, head and shoulders above most others. Long may it continue, my friend.
Well, thank you so much and also for the kind words, but I don't agree with your last sentence there. It's Australia, that's where it's at, music-wise. Okay?
Before you go, every guest on our show gets to choose a song by an Australian band, and I know you have a great love, obviously, of many Australian bands, but what would you like to choose and why? For you, you can choose 2 or 3. Most guests get 1, but you can have 3. Okay,
there's one band that I think at least over here, is criminally overlooked, which was Brad Shepard's The Monarchs.
Yep.
We did some shows with them, and they were amazing. I mean, I love the Hoodoo Gurus too, but what is that song called? Oh, now I'm put on the spot. There's one song that's called The Guy That You're the kind of guy that reminds me of me. I don't know if that's the song title, but that's what he's singing. Can you please play that for me? Then I would say, oh, this is really tricky.
Sorry.
Well, how about some Powder Monkeys? And then I would pick Straight Until Morning, because it's a classic.
Lovely. Great.
Casanova's Heartbreaker.
Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. 3 great choices. You could actually do a podcast on Australian rock, I'm sure. I know you could.
Oh, maybe when we get over there, I can swing by.
Lovely. Mate, thank you again. Been fantastic talking to you. I know that everyone who listens to our podcast will have some Hellacopters in their collections, and I encourage them to grab a copy of Eyes of Oblivion. 10 out of 10. Good luck with the album and for the remainder of the year.
Well, thank you so much. It's been good talking to you.